What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So when it comes to the Social Security debate, and we're talking about reforming Social Security, providing a Social Security increase, I mainly listen to these politicians talk, and I show you guys politicians. But what I really like to do is listen to the professionals, listen to the experts in their field when it comes to the way out when it comes to Social Security. Because you're going to listen to politicians, and they're going to tell you that they can give you the world, but the reality is they can't. And they don't like to tell you the tough situations that we're in, and they don't like to tell you that this might be painful. It might not be the way that you think it will be. And so listening to experts, at least they don't have any political agenda, so they can tell you this is what we need to do in order to move forward. And the politicians, they rely on these experts to actually move forward with legislation, but they just don't tell you about it. So they make it look like, oh, this is my idea. This is, I'm the one that wants to borrow money to invest it into the stock market in the hopes that we could be in a situation where people can get an increase from that. Our Bernie Sanders plan, where I'm the one that wants to say, okay, people making $250,000 or more, they're going to pay more. They're going to raise the cap so they pay more in payroll tax. That way you can provide a $200 raise for Social Security. But it's the experts who have to do the numbers. They have to crunch the numbers to find out, does this work? And so we're going to listen to an expert today, and then we're going to have a little bit to talk about at the end of this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, at the end of this video, there's a code. And if you put that code in the comments, I will reply to the comments. I do my best. Sometimes I get a little behind. Right now, I'm still a little bit behind, but if you go ahead and put that code in there, I'll at least give you a like, and then I'll comment if I have the time to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look and a listen to this expert here. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I forgot his title. He has a long title, so we'll just play it. They're going to tell you who he is. Here we go.
Is the former principal deputy commissioner of the Social Security Administration, American Enterprise Institute senior fellow Andrew Biggs. Andrew, thank you for taking the time to discuss this important issue. So we don't have enough younger workers paying into the system right now to cover the cost of their own Social Security. They're only paying for those already retired. So you've been working on reform for many years now. How did we get to this point?
It's just a transfer program. We take money from young people, we give it to old people. And to make that work, you want to have a lot of young people and not so many old people. Unfortunately, we have the reverse.
Why haven't they made real significant reform? Why do they keep kicking the can down the road?
Well, despite what you might think about politicians, they don't like to break promises. And we've made two promises to Americans regarding Social Security that are inconsistent with each other. We've promised a certain level of taxes you pay, 12.4% of your wages. We've also promised a certain benefit formula. If you pay those taxes, you will get these benefits. Now, mathematically, those two can't work. The system is underfunded by about $20 trillion, which means you either need to reduce benefits by $20 trillion over the next 75 years, or you need to increase tax revenues by that amount. Social Security reform involves breaking promises. Those promises maybe should never have been made in the first place, but they were made, and we now have to tell people that we can't keep them. They have to pay more and get less. Politicians don't like telling people that.
What do we need to do then to save the fund? You'd mentioned higher payroll taxes, maybe older age requirement for drawing Social Security. What needs to be done?
The way I think about this now is not just tweaking different parameters to get to solvency. It's thinking fresh about what we want Social Security to do. The reason Social Security is expensive is not because it keeps the poor out of poverty and old age. That's a relatively inexpensive thing to do. The reason Social Security is expensive today.
That's interesting that he says that. It's relatively easy to keep people out of poverty. Well, we still have a lot of people in poverty. And so I don't know if he's saying it's an easy fix. I would like to hear that fix.
Is it provides increasingly generous benefits to middle and upper income people who, let's face it, could save for retirement on their own. Somebody making $100,000 a year throughout their career, they're going to get over $42,000 a year from Social Security. That strikes me as unnecessary, and those are the things I think we need to look at.
And I know years ago when I covered the 2000 presidential campaign, Steve Forbes talked about allowing people to invest some of their payroll tax into private accounts. And you remember politicians blasted him saying that's risky. It's gambling away people's savings on the stock market. So what do you think of that idea?
Well, I worked for the George W. Bush administration. I was in the Bush White House and the Social Security Administration. George W. Bush strongly favored the idea of letting people invest part of their Social Security taxes in a personal account. That worked at the time because for years, Social Security was running large surpluses. It was collecting more in taxes than it needed to pay benefits. The accounts would have saved that surplus for the future. The problem today is Social Security is already running deficits. If I take my money and put it in a personal account, there isn't enough left to pay for my grandparents' benefits. So I think we need to think today about how we balance the Social Security system on its own, but then put in place provisions to make it easier for people to save for retirement outside of Social Security.
Okay, so I talked about this. I did a video about a week and a half ago, I think, where I showed you guys when it comes to privatizing Social Security, because we're hearing Mike Pence talk about this. We're hearing other politicians talk about this could be the path forward. And the interesting thing, and he mentioned exactly what I was saying when it comes to privatizing Social Security, or at least taking a portion of the payroll tax you would normally pay and putting that into some type of into the stock market, investing that money. Well, you're taking that money out of the system. And so that means less funding will be going to the Social Security Administration, which in turn, that money will be going to the people who are currently receiving Social Security benefits. So if you try to privatize it now, you're going to be taking money away from Social Security. Now, in the future, that money that's being invested, it could benefit the person who is doing the investing, like the person who's taking some of their payroll tax and investing it. It could benefit them, but it's not going to benefit the people who are currently receiving Social Security benefits. And so I talked about that, and that's exactly what he just said.
Making sure everyone has a chance to get a retirement plan at work, automatically signing people up for those plans.
Well, finally, Senator Manchin says he's on board with the Republicans at least to begin a dialogue on reform. So what are the chances we'll get something done anytime soon, or is Congress just going to keep kicking this can down the road until it's too late?
Well, I think what Senator Manchin is saying is what any reasonable member of Congress would be saying, which is we're going to talk to the other side and we're going to negotiate. That's how these things get solved. They don't get solved by one side saying we're never going to cut benefits, another side saying we're never going to raise taxes. At some point, we're going to come to some agreement. No party can do it on its own, and it's inevitably going to involve a bit of both. The sooner we get this solved, the easier it's going to be. Everybody needs to put their cards on the table, get in a room, and start talking. That's how we fixed these things before, and that's how we'll do it in the future.
Okay, it's all about building consensus.
Okay, so there was Andrew Biggs, and when it comes down to it, and he's basically saying that both sides, the side that's saying that they're never going to cut Social Security, and I guess you can say that those are the Democrats, and then you have the other side that's saying that they're never going to raise taxes, and those would be the Republicans. They're going to have to come together, and part of this negotiation, you might have to do both things. And so cutting Social Security for people who are currently receiving benefits, I don't think that's something that's going to happen, but maybe down the road, people who will be receiving benefits in 20 years or 30 years from now, they might see cuts, or they might see a transition of, and you know, as far as the 401ks and things like that, put more money into the 401ks and then rely less on Social Security in the future. We'll have to see if that actually happens. Now, I've always been a proponent of pensions, but I don't think that companies are going to go back to pensions. But I think pensions is a great option because that provides you, in most cases, if you work 20 or 30 years, it will provide you with a livable benefits for the rest of your life. And then you can have a little bit of Social Security on top of that. But in some cases, you don't even need it if you have a pension. Just think right now, these politicians that are talking about Social Security and making cuts and all that, guess what? They're going to be receiving a pension from their work in the federal government. And so after 5 years, they can start collecting a pension. Now, it's not going to be a lot, but if they work 20 years as a politician, which is not uncommon now, we see a lot of these politicians, because we don't have term limits, something that we need. These politicians are working as politicians for years and years and years, and so they're going to collect a pension when they retire. They don't have to really worry about Social Security. And so it's interesting when you look at them, they're getting pensions, but the average person, very, very few people can qualify for a pension, because when you're working for the government, you might get a pension, but you're working in the private industry, it's almost unheard of now. So I want to know what you guys think about all this. So what do you think? Do you think we are in a situation where we might see cuts as well as we might see taxes raised? And if they raise taxes, you'll have the revenue to provide some type of an increase, but will they actually go that route, or will they go the route of making cuts, or will they make cuts later down the road? Which I think what we're probably going to see is them saying, okay, we do need to raise taxes. They raise the taxes, either raise the cap or raise the payroll tax. And then when it comes to people who are just starting out in a career, they're going to really tell them, hey, you need to invest more in 401ks. You need to invest more in separate retirement plans, because Social Security will be cut for you when you get to that point. Now, not completely, but the amount will be cut. And so we'll have to see what happens in the future. I do want to know what you guys think, so let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.